Train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs.
More Indians in 5 years than Greeks and Italians in 100 years, said a flyer calling Australians for anti-immigration protests. And it's not just Australia. Across the UK, Ireland and Poland, anti-immigration protests have been gaining momentum. In some countries, it's against immigrants in general, but in Australia, the finger was directly pointed at Indians. Why? Let me explain. Why do people leave their homelands to move to other countries? It could be for better opportunities and quality of life, for some other personal reasons, or to escape unrest, war, and natural disasters back home. And because the world has shrunk, no longer dependent on ships like in the past, migration has become faster, easier, and more common. In 1990, there were 190 million migrants. In 2024, that number has crossed 300 million. India alone accounts for 18.5 million of them, making Indians the largest diaspora in the world. That means in London, Indians owned more property than the Brits. Indians formed the second largest migrant group in Australia, dominating the healthcare, technology, education, and engineering fields.
We celebrate our extended family that is residing all across the world and is in true spirit ambassadors of the great culture of our country. We are proud of the fascinating story of the Indian diaspora, starting from the ancient times and never looking back, reaching the current stage where we have over 30 million strong Indian diaspora spread over in more than 100 countries.
But not everyone is celebrating. The past 2 years have seen significant anti-immigration protests in several countries, particularly in Europe, often led by far-right or nationalist groups. Some of the common problems they say they have with immigration is competition for jobs, housing crisis, and pressure on resources like healthcare and welfare. And often, anti-immigration sentiments stem from racism and ethno-nationalism, when natives feel like outsiders might ruin their culture or even replace it.
It's a crime when there's so many Indians taking over Canada.
I'm Canadian.
There's too many students here.
I'm not a student.
You have every argument in the book.
So what wrong did I do? What wrong did I do to you? Be honest and tell me, what wrong did I do to you?
You are Indian.
I'm not.
You're from India.
I'm Canadian.
Your parents are from India. Your grandma is from India.
In July 2024, 3 girls were killed in a mass stabbing incident at a dance class in Southport, England. After this, protests and riots broke out across the country. People targeted hotels housing asylum seekers, driven by fake social media rumors that wrongly blamed a Muslim immigrant. The attacker was a 17-year-old UK citizen. False claims that he came on a boat to the UK in 2023 were shared on social media, which fanned the anti-immigrant sentiment.
We want our country back!
For context, migrants from countries including Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq, Albania, Syria arrive in the UK through the English Channel and apply for asylum. At least 3 out of these 5 countries are dealing with conflict. In July 2025, dozens of cities and towns in Poland saw anti-immigration protests. One of those drew 3,000 people as per the police. A far-right organization and a nationalist organization organized the protests, calling for a check on immigration, which they said would deteriorate security. The protesters said Poland would be flooded by immigrants, but official figures showed that migration this year was lower than previous years. August 2025 again saw protests against asylum seekers outside their hotels in the UK. The police kept apart anti-immigrant protesters, one of whom said, "Keep Britain white," and counter-protesters who said they welcomed refugees and diversity. Since 2020, far-right groups have been regularly organizing anti-migrant protests as per the New York Times. They've also consistently shared and filmed the locations of asylum hotels. The same month, a new wave of anti-immigrant protests began in Australia as elections approached, similar to the surge seen in the UK. March for Australia rallies against mass migration took place in several major cities and thousands turned out. Flyers shared for the rally singled out Indians, saying, "More Indians in 5 years than Greeks and Italians in 100 years."
as you know, that we have a large diaspora in Australia, almost about 1 million. Before the protest took place, our High Commission conveyed whatever concerns that were shared with them by the Indian community members to the Australian government. In response, we actually received a formal response from the Australian side, where they acknowledged that the protests in Australia may be of concern for Australia's diverse communities.
The flyers pointed to issues including traffic, crime, housing supply, water supply, environmental destruction, infrastructure, hospitals, and replacement of culture. Here also, counter-protesters showed up to welcome migrants, and clashes took place at the Adelaide and Melbourne rallies. The Australian government condemned the rallies, with senior officials calling them divisive and asserting that such far-right activism has no place in the country.
What we saw at those rallies then was neo-Nazis addressing the Melbourne rally, that rally ending with attacking the site of Aboriginal resistance in Melbourne and a sacred resting place, an Adelaide protester carrying a placard in support of an alleged cop killer, and speeches blaming migrants for housing shortages. That's what we saw at those rallies over the weekend. And then, when offered an opportunity to support a motion of the Senate that affirmed that Australia is a nation that welcomes different races and religions, the opposition voted against that.
In September 2025, 100 people gathered on Parliament grounds in Northern Ireland to protest against illegal immigrants. 2 weeks later, several more anti-immigration protests called Operation Shutdown took place across Northern Ireland, with only a few hundred showing up.
I felt frightened and intimidated by the images online, like any other parent would feel, any other migrant worker would feel, any other migrant woman might feel. But I'm also determined that I'm not going to be chased away from my home, because the overwhelming majority of people in Belfast and elsewhere in this country would not allow racism to prevail. Racism will not win.
Again, in September 2025, at least 110,000 people showed up at an anti-immigration rally called Unite the Kingdom in London, which The Guardian said was one of the largest far-right demonstrations in recent memory. It was organized by far-right British activist Tommy Robinson, who has a criminal record with convictions for violence and financial and immigration fraud.
Why does so many people in this great country love Tommy? Why?
Because it's raw. It's truthful. It's open. Not everybody agrees with his every point, but he has a right to speak his mind.
American tech baron Elon Musk also lent his support to the rally and said, "Whether you choose violence or not, violence is coming to you. You either fight back or you die." His support is said to have helped Tommy gain popularity on social media in recent years. Protesters at the rally held up signs saying, "Stop the boats, send them home, and enough is enough, save our children." Some 5,000 counter-protesters showed up at this rally to support migrants and oppose hate speech.
I just think it's a bit of a joke. I think it's gone way too far. I think it's being used for the wrong things, like the wrong message is being sent. And I feel like it said there's 25,000 people here. I feel like 24,500 people don't know why they're here. You know what I mean? And it's just become a fad, and I think it's a joke. We've got bigger things to worry about in our society, bigger things to worry about.
Protesters clashed with the police, leaving 26 officers injured. Also in September 2025, a Canada First anti-immigration rally in Toronto drew far-right activists, though it was met by a larger counter-protest. While anti-immigration protesters had to leave because those supporting migrants were larger in number, sometimes anti-immigration voices don't stay limited to the sidelines. Sometimes they become the voice of the ruling class because a considerable number of people endorse these views. The return of Donald Trump as US President with his America First approach is a prime example of this. He's been pretty vocal about migrants, whom he refers to as
illegal aliens.
Given the unprecedented millions of Biden illegal aliens who are invading our country, it is only common sense that when I'm re-elected, we will begin, and we have no choice, the largest deportation operation in American history.
On 19th September, the Trump government announced that companies would have to pay $100,000 on each new H-1B visa if they needed to bring in talent from abroad.
The whole idea is no more will these big tech companies or other big companies train foreign workers. They have to pay the government $100,000, then they have to pay the employee. So it's just not economic. If you're going to train somebody, you're going to train one of the recent graduates from one of the great universities across our land, train Americans, stop bringing in people to take our jobs.
The order, which didn't differentiate between new and existing H-1B visas, had created panic, especially as 71% of H-1B holders are Indians. But then the US government issued a clarification saying it won't be applicable on renewals and would only be a one-time payment that employers would have to make for new H-1B visas. In 2024, more than 2 lakh Indians gave up their citizenship as per government numbers. Most of them went to countries like the UK, US, Canada and Australia, where the clamour against immigration has been increasing.
I do want to stress that one of the points we raised was why the Indian American diaspora has been so silent about all of this. One of the congresswomen said that not one phone call has come to her office from any Indian American voter asking for her to support a change of policy. And this is something that is surprising, and that I think we all need to reach out to the Indian American population saying, if you care about the relationship with your motherland, then you also have to fight for it, speak for it, and make more of an effort to press your political representatives to stand up for India.
But with many people still welcoming migrants, refugees and diversity, things might not be that bleak. In the US, for example, ever since Trump became president for the second time and started his crackdown on illegal aliens, Americans changed their perception about immigration, and 79% of them believed immigration is a good thing for the country, as per a Gallup report. I am Hamna Hissam Siddiqui, and I bring you the news of the week with Brut.